This is a Magio Warden healer build. It's strong. It's very strong. I played it in the BG tournament. This thing is pretty much very difficult to kill and heals very effectively. I'll go through the build real quick. Magio gave me this build, actually. There was something close to this. I modified a couple of the skills, and they'll probably be the flex skills for this build. Let's start with the skills, okay? Front bar, Resto. I have Radiating Regeneration. I have Combat Prayer, Race Against Time, Energy Orb, Blue Betty, and Life Giver Roll. That's our front bar of Resto. Back bar, Nature's Embrace, Polar Wind, Ice Fortress, Overflowing Altar, Living Trellis, and then we have Permafrost. The reason these would be your two flex spots, this is good for Battlegrounds. I like it at least. And even maneuverability for open world, especially this. Real good moving around. Even with Race Against Time, like you're fast, but still maneuverable. What I like about it is it gives a lot of hots and on targets that are moving, whereas Healing Springs is like great if your group's sticking together. If your group's sticking together, you can totally change this build up. Like you wouldn't need Nature's Embrace and Vines, although you can still do it, and I still do it even when the group is sticking together. But in like large group or Cyrodiil, you would definitely adjust this 100%. Like you're gonna find Vines to not be very useful for you there. So there is some slight adjustment there. Plus in Cyrodiil, if you went there, probably swap on Barrier. You could look towards even trees or something. Permafrost gives you a good option to kind of go in and add a little bit to your group if you're hitting like a group in Battlegrounds. This is mainly built around Battlegrounds conceptually, 4v4v4. It's good in that environment, and that's where these skills are tuned for. Flows in the Cyrodiil beautifully though. I mean, I can face tank a lot of people in Cyrodiil. In fact, the people I would face in Cyrodiil are generally not as good as the people in Battlegrounds. So it's like fighting a lot more people, just lesser versions, same effect. Anyway, those are the skills. Let's look at the gear. Flexibility is here too. All right, we are doing a 2-piece monster set. I'll put this stuff on Outcast too. It's going to take a couple days once it's posted on YouTube to get up the other stuff on the website. But we'll get that added onto the website. Everything you see here may not be what it should be. What I mean by that is, like, for example, these are both Impen. You can do better than Impen. So I'm just generally kind of lazy. I don't change everything when I should have. For the most part, and what I put on Outcast is what you should use. For example, probably more reinforced. We'll get even more armor on like heavy pieces, like a heavy chest. We can reinforce this. We can add more sturdy on some of the other parts. Ignore that kind of. I mean, you can reference it, but for the most part, like reinforced on some of the bigger heavy parts, and we're gonna do some more sturdy for heavier block ability on the other ones. Especially if you're newer to the build, it gives you more flexibility. You're probably gonna end up blocking more than you should, and you'll like having that until you really learn how much damage can I take, because that helps to know. Anyway, 2-piece monster set. I've done other ones. I've never tried Bloodspawn. I feel like that would kind of be cheating. Earthgore is great because you have a lot of hots on people. If someone gets spiked hard, Earthgore is going to proc. It gives you time to react. It is a really good set. I even use Symphony of Blades. Not really worth it in a Battlegrounds group. But like I used it in the BG tournament. It's not bad. It's a great set. It procs on multiple people now. There's other ones. You could use Bogdan's if you wanted. There's a variety of things in here. I think Earthgore pretty much works well in giving you a range burst on someone that either might have got lost or split up a little, and you have hots running on them. Boom, Earthgore's gonna proc. Anyway, 2-piece monster set. Moving on from that, Pariah is gonna be your concrete set that you want to run. Your no flex. set. One that you don't flex out. Pariah is really good. Everyone's health's moved up in the meta. You get more out of Pariah now. And it's already really good. It's crazy good. So, we're going to flip that on. I have it in not efficient slots either. Again, I'll probably put it in the desirable set up on the website. But it is not exactly here. Like, I'm running it on both weapons. I did that in a pinch because I did not have the right pieces of Gossamer. If you had the right pieces, you could either... I don't know, you could double bar. Like, Gossamer, if it's double barred, which means you don't run, like, a back bar resto staff. Because you could run, like, a unique resto staff. Like, the Asylum resto would be really good on this build. If you back barred Gossamer. Problem with backbar and Gossamer is it only procs for 1 second. I use different sets. I really like Gossamer. I feel there is so much burst right now that has some AoE in it, and Gossamer is just legendary to have. I regret nothing in putting it on. I tried some other sets, Winter's Respite. I can put in some other options there too. That's more of your flexible support set, let's call it. I tried Spell Power Cure. Spell Power Cure wasn't bad. Problem with Spell Power Cure is just sustain was hit a little bit. But stronger heals. Not worth it. For the most part. Great to have in group. I don't think anything could beat the way Gossamer felt, though. Gossamer felt good. Yeah, I feel I can keep people alive with Gossamer on. But, you know, you're going to get in groups where there's other healers and they're running, you know, stuff. So it's good to have flexible sets here. That's why it's your flexible support set. So I'm running it here in the light pieces. Belt, gloves, boot. This could be done different where it's just gloves and belt. And then, like, you know, jewelry. Ideally, you do Pariah, like, chest, legs, boots, at least. More armor that way. Anyway, that's kind of where we're at. And then I'm double barring Pariah weapons. Again, I did this because I don't know. Like, I don't think you could back bar Gossamer, though. That's the thing. So I didn't really... It doesn't mess with it too much for me. And frankly, I don't have sustain issues. I don't need Asylum. All in all, I think healing is... I think Warden's very strong. Everything's kind of a little off since the CP changes. And this thing's a god. It's unbelievable. It's the way it performs is unreal. It's not right. We'll watch some gameplay. Beyond that, we have how many heavy? 1, 2, 3, 4. Technically, you can or should have 4 heavy, 2 light, and 1 medium. I have 3 light, 3 heavy, and 1 medium. You can try to again push towards heavy, reinforce, sturdy in the light pieces. As far as your jewelry goes, I did reduce magicka costs on all 3. We have 2 that are triune, 1 swift. Every armor piece is triune. Tri-enchant. This is very common right now in the meta. The Resto's staff is powered and has a weapon enchant on it. It's procs a lot. You're on this bar more often than not. And otherwise you're having a bad time if you're on your sword and board a lot. Sword and board's more your defensive one. We have sturdy and defending here. We flip to this when we're in trouble and when we're doing some of the other stuff. Again, as a reminder, what's on our sword and board bar, kind of like Nature's Embrace, which we're not using constantly, Ice Fortress, which we're just putting up every now and then for buffs, Altar, Trellis. This is really our active healing bar, our resto staff. And we're going to be using Race Against Time a lot to like keep up with people. This thing moves quick, right? Regen always has to be up on everybody. It's a requirement. So a lot of moving around with these. And then when you're at people, we're going to be combat prayering. Combat prayer is huge. All right, it's giving minor berserk and minor resolve. It's huge, and it gives a good AOE heal, and it's ranged, and it's in a carpet in front of you. So that's kind of your main directive. Again, we have 2 hots on the back bar. We have altar, which is important. What I end up doing a lot is I want to try to show some video. Is like I'll pull into a fight. You can immediately like throw down an altar, flip bars, orb out, and now your team is sweeping in. I I do this a lot because this thing, again, is just so goddamn tanky. I can just run in if I want. But if I don't and I'm leashing into somebody, then I will orb out first. It's pretty good. So, like, I'm leashing into the fight, bar swap. You could place the altar, too, right? We could leash in, like, pop an altar if you feel the fight's really going to be static right there. But the orb should really, like, orb's really good. Just get that orb out, like, in the line of fire of the fight. And then again, like, I can turn and just, like, you know, carpet heal with this thing. If people are hitting you, they're wasting their time. So that's a great thing. Anytime you can get the enemy to hit you, more efficient to heal yourself than other people, because you're tanky as hell. This thing has a lot of armor. Like, right now, sword and board, you sit at, you know, 34 and 32k armor there. This is before Pariah kicks in, which can add another 10k armor. Alright, we're not even using Bloodspawn. Bloodspawn would be great on this with Rest Hold, I feel like. Earthgore, again, is good for saving lives, though. That's for sure. This thing has no problem surviving, so I felt Bloodspawn was a bit overkill. But it can still afford to do it. One of the things I missed was Mundus. We have Bewitched Sugar Skulls. Another thing, Magio ran this with Vampire. I never tried it with Vampire. I'm sure it's phenomenal. He played Vampire and used the Undeath passive. Something worth considering. Mundus Stone, the Ritual. Okay. Those are the main things. And everything else is supplied by the unbelievably overpowered Warden passives at your disposal. This class has a lot of great things to it. Another good flex skill, especially just for random BGs, is Shimmering Shield. Just deal with mag circs a lot. So you could flip this one in too. You could either put it on this or on vines. I mean, vines aren't really needed. Again, what I like to do is I stack so many hots on people that the moment they get hit, I want them getting healed multiple times over before I even need to react to them, which I will. You will still cover them with heals. But there's a lot of people that can take damage and immediately be healed back up. And that's pretty sweet. Points and stats. I don't know if I said the food. I'll say it again. But I did. Bewitched Sugar Skulls. And then 20 into Magicka, 44 into health. Again, shout out to Magio Hex. He really did a lot of the grunt work on some of these stats and stuff. And frankly, I took this, I moved around a couple of skills, tried a set or two change, but aside from that, worked beautifully. But let's just look at a BG, try to keep it short and sweet, just generally talk about stuff. I don't know if I'll make all the right moves of what I'm talking about with things, but we'll try. We'll try to discuss what we're doing here. And so, rapid regen right off the top. You always want to keep that pump topped off, because once you're in combat, you don't want to be rebuffing it. Team's running in right away. Usually I'm there with them, but that guy's going in. Oh yeah, okay. So we have one guy on our team. He's a Nightblade. If you get some people that just kind of mess around, and you know, don't worry about chasing them. Try to stick with the core of your team. And if you can talk them to do so, it's great. It's a whole nother thing if they actually will. But it's sometimes not bad to tell people, like, hey, I'm a healer, just stick together. Sorry, let me slow it down a little bit too. Just a little bit. So you want to heavy resto a lot, especially like if your party's not hurting, top your magic off. Or refresh your hots. So this guy got hit with both my hots. So the prime guy that gets hit, at least with my setup, again, with vines and with pull, they both give strong hots. And if I see someone taking pressure, I will hit him with all the hots. Alright, we should have altar right up here. I don't have that here. I kind of forgot to drop a lot of altars today. I don't know why. But that's happening. It sucks. Some of the other days we had some good BGs. This one will be a bit shaky. Alright, there they go. They're jumping in. It's more about like when certain things happen, what do we do type stuff. So there's the pull one. That's just me stacking hots on guys. Like usually I'll try to find a fragile target. As we discover, this Nightblade Leroy Jenkins is our fragile target. I think we actually have a good demonstration of throwing our hots on him because he's so fragile. So if you keep those hots up on your fragile guy, it's going to give you a little more flexibility to be able to save his life. It's also going to chew up your earth core. It is what it is. It's part of the healer life. It's a struggle sometimes to deal with. If your team sticks together, this stuff goes real smooth. It's real easy to throw an orb and pound combat prayer when your team's in front of you. I got one guy over there, one dude back here, one in the middle, right? It gets tougher. And what you do here is try to watch the enemy and see where they're gonna hit. Right? You keep up your rapid regen. This is why I love Resto ult here too. For example, in the situation you just saw, there's one guy that's pursuing the enemy back there, the group fight, and I have these two. These situations are non-stop in BGs. I will focus on healing these two, and I will try to save the Resto ult for the other guy. If I want to try to keep all three of them alive, that's the way you do it. Focus your hots and AoE heals on these guys. You can hit that dude with rapid regen, but save your Resto ult for him. Unless you need to. You know, if worst case scenario happens, just cut loose the one dude, you know. But he tore through the back and he came out. He's actually not bad. He's one of our better guys. He's just a Stamsork. He's striking from the sides. He's doing what he should be doing. You know. So right here, they're all together. Boom, throwing an orb right in front of them. This lets them refill their stats. It's constantly giving them hots. Like, that's what we want to do. We want to keep refreshing that a lot. Again, I should be chucking an altar, like, right here. That'd be a great time to do it. Other than that, we want to keep trying to refresh combat prayer. That guy got spiked. You know, it's kind of watching the enemy and reacting to heals, but keeping up hots in between. A big thing is, like, I use Argonian for this too. I don't know if that matters or not, but basically I have two, like, oh shit buttons. You have your Resto ult and your pots, and I don't constantly pound the pots, basically. I kind of save them for, like, tighter moments, overextend, things like that, and you know, I think that's pretty common that people do. So you want to operate around that and try not to use both of them at the same time. Like, if you're you're getting destroyed and you pop your pot and your Resto ult, well, after like 5-10 seconds you have nothing, and then you're kind of screwed. What's better to do in those situations is use one of them. And again, like, if you have the pull, you know, you can pull yourself to somebody, or, you know, if you opted to go Vampire and worked in Mistform, you could do that. I wouldn't do that on Warden, personally, though. I wouldn't use Mistform. I don't think that's necessary. Anywho, here we go. Team's focused here. They're sticking together. They're doing their job. I used Ice Storm right here, actually, because I saw 3 people from purple. We could dominate them, and so we did. Rebuff and rapid regen, approaching the next team. Doing whatever rebuffs we can here. Reading chat. Heavy attacking. My magic is completely empty right now. And I don't know, man. My magic is, like, empty a lot on this. But I never find myself in a moment, like, not really, like, having resource to heal someone. Like, I could pop a Rest Hold, or I could pot if I need an emergency heal. Generally, I just walk into the enemy and heavy attack, because there's very little threat of dying, I feel like, a lot. This guy, you know, the team just stupid here. They're nothing but stupid. That guy got knocked in the lava. The other guy was, I don't know what he was doing. And then, you know, we have this dude. So we're taking care of Gus here. Gus is doing his job all game. You love to see people like Gus on your team. All right, they never lose focus, and they just keep doing their job. I have Resto up here. My pot has been used. Just little things to note. We had Altar plopped in there. I mean, it's a lot of the similar things, like rotation-wise. Did we go with Ice Storm here? Yeah, we went with Ice Storm again on purple. Because if you can build it up, then you can do it. Drop an altar when you do Ice Storm too, alright? You get that good lifesteal going on the enemy here. As you can see, all the healing happening over here. A little bit of minor lifesteal feels good. So So let's look at what we're doing. It's tough to see because the Gossamer constantly procs. We're popping regens here. We're summoning our little Blue Betty. And there's our heavy attack coming in. Keeping, again, like, no one's health's dropping right now. So, like, that's when action happens. I'm watching, like, one dude's over there, Leroy, throw my life away, Gankins, and then the other two are over here. And that's what we're trying to focus on. So now Leroy just pulled over here, and he can actually fight with the team as he should be, which makes your job a lot easier. Because then you can just hit these guys. If your team's all together, you keep orb on them at all times, and you keep combat prayer on them at all times. You give them those two buffs. I mean, orb's just orb, but combat prayer's given two buffs that are phenomenal. Plus, if they get hit by something like AoE there, you can combat prayer. Another good thing, don't pile on top of your guys. Something I forgot to mention, you can see how I'm keeping distance from them while healing. It's not only for angling your AoE heals, but if they get hit with a streak or something or a dragon leap, you don't want to be hit with the dragon leap. Sure, this shit happens, but you want to be able to react. The moment they get hit with a dragon leap, you want to be hitting them with a combat prayer, right? Some guy gets incapped, you want to be able to react to that, or the resto, or whatever it takes. If you get stunned at the same time they get bursted in a stun, it's unfortunate. Happens a lot with Streak, too. So try to stay close, but not on top of them. This is important for, frankly, everybody. To not just get... When you get tunnel visioned and you stack, you're susceptible to dying to this kind of stuff. Anyway, because I think one of them is just Dragon Leap, but you know, again, just keeping distance. So we're combat praying here, orb out. All right. If I see someone taking some damage or they're in deep, that's when I usually double up. It's hard to see, but like I just bar swapped and I vines there. Like I do that a lot. And you can think of it as the vines, you're putting the vines on someone's taking damage, whether it's yourself or one of your allies. It's just something that's going to lessen the pain of needing to burst heal someone. Right? Like here's Leroy getting smoked again, eats the Earth Gore immediately. But again, this is important to see how we react, because these are the moments that kind of make you a good healer or not, right? I did my pull to him now too. As soon as I arrived with pull, I put vines on him. So he has regen on him, Earth Gore proc, but he ran out of it. I pulled to him, and now he has vines. So he has 3 different hots. Earth Gore helped get him over the hump. I'm out of magicka right now. I imagine I'll pop my pot. Leroy making me waste my pot, and now I topped off his health. And he's back in the fight now. Alright? Team's going right back in, and they just turned to kill. Popped an altar right here at this fight. Now we're doing combat prayer across all of them, because now they're all back together. Enemies coming in trying to burst me, but joke's on them. You're a Warden with Pariah. Alright, you go right to the sword and board bar, and we immediately put on vines, and we started to do the polar wind. Okay? And they wasted their time hitting you while your 3 DPS are, you know, killing people. They come out here, they're regrouping, you see people idle like this, give them an orb. Alright, I don't know where it's at, but it's got to be coming out. We're heavy attacking some stats. Give them an orb. Alright, keep the orbs around. Anyone that's decent is going to want to hit the orbs on cooldown if they need stats. So, important to always keep orbs out. Hit that guy up there. What do we do here? We bar swap and we pull to that guy. Alright? What do we do after we pull? Earth Gore procs. The moment I arrive, I've already casted vines on him. He now has 2 hots and Earth Gore procced. Okay? We can bar swap at this point and just hit him with combat prayer if needed, or you do polar wind if it's some high HP guy that's trying to, you know, eat up all your resources. Back to heavy attacking, baby. You know? Here comes the Stam Circ on the flank. Drops a DB on him. A good guy to pull into, because it's very likely he'll take damage if he gets caught up in it. Plus, I'm not doing anything. If the enemy wants to sit here and hit me, again, the joke is on them. Like, it's a waste of time to attack this. Alright? Here they are hitting me. My team's watching. And here comes the Stam Circ blindside on these guys. If they are hitting you, you are mitigating more damage than, like, anybody else, probably. Okay? Because you're still doing your job healing, but you're just an unbelievable tank because the meta is kind of broken. Okay. So we're gonna just rebuff, put hots on anyone that's low. Just doing that, chucking an orb out. I like once you learn to use this build, I personally like doing that. I like getting in people's faces. I like them wasting time hitting me and then just healing up. They're wasting ults. Plus, it gives your DPS if you've played a DPS, you understand that being able to get a target that's like sitting there, completely tunnel visioned, not fully rebuffed, wasting their resources, possibly their ult on somebody, and you're DPS and you can come in and blindside this guy with everything, you're gonna have a much higher chance of killing him. So serve as the guy that's sort of a tank, but you're a functional tank in the sense that you're actually doing something. You're not just holding block with 70k HP and clown makeup on your necro, doing absolutely nothing. You don't want to be that guy, but you know you're doing real work here. I mean, you're healing a lot. This thing heals a lot. This isn't like a tank first, healer second. It's a healer first. Yeah, just rebuffing here, keeping eyes on everybody. Understanding what's about to hit people is important. That's just game knowledge, though, general. Like, there's my teammate. He's jumped into the lava, all right? I don't have resto hold up, all right? You can see in my face, I'm not happy, but I'm not surprised. All right, so you don't know what's coming next. You might want to pull to him, and then you remember he's a Sork. All right, he got himself out of that one. So that's good, but he's over there. But we have resto ult for things like that when people are off on the sidelines. This guy's... So again, this is this method of focusing on two. We know we're keeping in mind the fourth is over here on our left, right? Keep track of your guys and try to group them as much as you can. You see how I'm grouping in like a pair here, so to speak? I prefer them not to be like this, but sometimes it's just how it is. Once they're together like this, I can start pounding out combat prayers and more efficiently healing that way. And try to see this guy reacting. We're immediately hitting with a polar heal there. That's our burst heal. Heavy attacking him, giving him regen, giving him vines, and giving him the pull skill. All right, I gave him everything. So now he's juiced up on heals, and I'm going over here to focus on Leroy, who has just consumed another Earthgore proc in stealth. You love to see that. That's a thing that makes any healer smile. All right, we have our resto ult. You can see these three guys lined up. It looks like they want to tee off on someone. I'm stepping into the enemy. Hit me. All right, there's our teammate resto ulting because he's got a different team on him. Fortunately, Gus is always keeping it 100 out here, and he is streaking behind me. So Gus is good. Gus is keeping it clean out here, which is what you want to see. Leroy, on the other hand, has now charged into the enemy yet again. All right, normally I would pull to him, but if I pull to him, I leave these two abandoned. And sometimes you got to make decisions. All right, you choose these two over Leroy. All right. Try to, when you're doing BGs as a healer, you got to find some of the stronger guys on your team and try to dedicate to them. If you want to win, that's what you do. This guy's taking a lot of burst. Earthgore's procced. Let's get everything on him. We're pulling to him. I'm hitting him with one burst heal there. I want to get more hots on him now. I wanted to get his health up a little bit. He's already back to full now. All right. Burst as needed. Get the hots on when possible, if that makes sense. Like, don't waste your magic of bursting someone at 70% health. Put hots on them. Let the hots do their job. Okay, they're efficient for a reason. Get back, put the hots on and get back to heavy attacking. Gets you mending, and it gets you magicka back. All right. That guy was terrible. We just killed him. Yeah, you love to see that. If you get a kill on your healer with a heavy resto, you're winning. All right. We're over here tanking the whole team. I thought my team was gonna follow me in, but they didn't. But remember, you're a Warden. All right. You don't play by the same rules. So we're tanking the whole team. We applied hots to us, and then we just pulled to someone else. This team is all over the place. All right, they're all over the place. They are tunnel visioned on me. They're like, we got him, we got him, we got him. They have nothing. All right, and they just ran in blindly. Seriously, they just ran in and got sideswiped there. And these are effective things you can do with this. Seriously, this is... Anytime I've played healers before, some of you guys that have watched me for a long time know I've always played my healer like that. I try to bait people's attention, because any DPS is going to do that. If I'm a DPS and I see a healer getting low or at half, I am focusing on that target, and I am looking at how I can finish him. I'm not looking at the guy coming in on the blind side. So, you know, try to make as much use of your healer as you can. That's what I always like to do. That's why I like support roles. People ask why I don't play the stam circ right now, but I appreciate the small things in playing support. And that's kind of what I consider it. So, team's dominating out here. They're doing great. There's Gus, or Leroy Gankins coming in. We're going to put some hots on Leroy, plus Leroy's going to go into stealth, and if I can, again, jabate some of their attention, I'm going to do it. You see I'm doing it now. I know where the enemy's at, damage-wise. I know they can't kill me. There's some teams that can. Like, good Mag Sorc Burst is really good right now, or Stam Sorc. Sorc Burst is scary right now. With Streak. That's one thing to beware of with any Sword and Board users, being Streak and hit with Sorc Burst. Here's me trying to put some hots on Leroy and then immediately go back to my team. Again, this is this team splitting up. How do we do it? Well, we give him some hots and we hope for the best. And he's going back in. We're giving him all the hots we can, because he's kind of low health, low defense. You know, and your restable, like, you know, it can save him for sure, but sometimes people with lower HP just get burst outright. We're chasing this guy because we only needed one more kill to win, it looks like. ZRT, thank you. 44 months. Build video, Poggy. This is the build video, man. We're doing it. Yeah, I'm just kind of discussing this a little. There's some other matches you'll see the concepts I'm talking about here that I think our editor-in-chief Strobx will also upload in conjunction with this. Again, we're just walking in the green team. I'm baiting them. That's for my team. I immediately pulled out. I'm going to pull back in, except it was Leroy, and he instantly died, so we're not pulling the Leroy. But that again, was a play there. I ran into that team to absorb damage, and then I'm going to pull out, and they're going to be like, well, what the fuck? And then they, you know, then they get hit by a Dawnbreaker, and they're all piled up. So, yeah. Any questions on some of that, or anything I missed? I mean, that's kind of it. You'll see some of the mechanics. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You got to play any build to understand where you're at, and that'll be important with this one, knowing what you can absorb damage-wise. When you've learned that, again, as far as stats and all that stuff go in-game, that's what I like for Outcast site. So I'll get that on Outcast site, and that'll be in a link down below the video when it's ready, which will show you all these things, like here's what your stats should kind of be, stuff like that, plus quick references for gear and what have you on how to use it. So